would like to call the Calbright College Board of Trustees meeting to order this morning on May 20th at 9:30 a.m. And before the meeting gets started, I'd like the board liaison to review the meeting procedures and protocols.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am Terry Lucas, the board liaison at Calbright College. You can follow our meeting agenda on board docs. The link can be found on our website, which is calbright.org/board. For attendees who wish to make public comment in person, please fill out a public comment card and submit to me. For attendees who participate remotely, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Public comment should be used to address today's agenda. A reminder that this board meeting is being recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Liaison Lucas. Please call the roll.
Love Adu. Absent. Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Present.
Maria Blaze.
Present.
Adrian Brown.
Present.
Lillian Corral. Absent. Amy Costa.
Here.
Ricardo De La Fuente. Absent. Tom Epstein.
Here.
Fauzi Hamadeh.
Here.
Pam Haynes.
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis. Absent. Harry Legrand.
Present.
Jesse Melgar.
Here.
Jennifer Perry.
Present.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Here.
Blas Villalobos. And Joseph Williams. Joseph? Okay, Joseph is absent. We have a quorum, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Liaison Lucas. Now we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Hamadeh, will you do us the honor of leading us in the pledge, please? Thank you, Trustee Hamadeh. All right, item 1.3 is discussion on the order of the agenda. And as far as I know, at this very second, we are taking everything in order. So thank you all for any flexibility we may need later on, but let's tackle things in order. Next item is my president's report. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the meeting of the Calbright College Board of Trustees. Apologies, as this meeting was expected to start at 9 o'clock, but we had to start a little bit later due to a power outage in Sacramento. So welcome and thank you for braving the outside world to be here with us today. As you may be aware, this is day 2 of work for our board members, as yesterday was the meeting of the California Community College's Board of Governors. On the agenda yesterday was a discussion from technology leaders that focused on the future of education, including Steve Butchie, Director of Education at Google Cloud, and Sanjay Dorairaj, Computer Science faculty at San Jose City College. We talked about the concept of career bouldering, which emphasizes building transferable strengths as learners explore different strongholds and moves in their career journey. But she also talks about the continuum of student success, which talks about how the learner's journey is not meant to be looked at in terms of isolated fragments, but instead as a longer journey that may include education long after what one considers a traditional completion. Those conversations have also touched upon the concept of the modern classroom and how learning may not necessarily be a physical destination, but a fluid activity. There is so much more, but I bring this up because if this does not make you think immediately of the great work that Calbright is already doing and has been doing since our inception in 2018 to make the future of education a reality today, then we have some work to do to bring this message to you. It makes me think of the saying, if you are on time, you are late. And as much as I'd like to stay in this big picture mindset, we must acknowledge that implementing this vision takes tactical, difficult, and dynamic work that involves all of us leaning in. Our agenda today reflects that. Hard work is attendant to the changes we need to make, and we must do so with care. So thank you to everyone, even the folks watching on our live stream, for being here with us in this important moment. And with that, I will pass it to CEO Menon.
Thank you so much. Good morning, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Perry, and members of the Board of Trustees. As we hit the kind of midpoint this month, we find ourselves in a really pivotal juncture in terms of Calbright's trajectory. With the release of the governor's May revision last week, I know many of you have already likely read the details of it and the news reports about it, and we received our preliminary update regarding Calbright's proposed 2026-2027 funding. And I'm very pleased to report that the momentum of possibility for the college remains really strong, as the May revise maintains proposed ongoing funding at the same level, $53.1 million, that the governor proposed in his January budget. What it means for us is that we're successfully transitioning beyond that foundational startup phase into a real period of sustained institutional maturity. Vice President of Government Relations, Jenny Johnson, provided our entire team, our staff, our faculty, a comprehensive briefing on the fiscal specifics at our all-hands meeting on Friday, making it really clear that while the budget is not yet final, these next few weeks are very critical. And last week's news is a real positive indicator for us as we await word on the final budget in the end of June. The overarching signal from the administration and the state policymakers is unequivocal. California requires the unique capabilities that Calbright provides. This sentiment was clearly articulated during our Senate subcommittee hearing earlier this spring, and it was really reaffirmed during our recent testimony before the Assembly Subcommittee on Education Finance. Legislative leaders are actively seeking to understand how competency-based education can be integrated into a higher education framework that was designed decades ago. And crucially, they're no longer questioning if it should be done, but rather how we can best achieve it together. There's a growing consensus that Calbright is a vital asset to the state's workforce ecosystem, serving really as a blueprint for the kind of high-tech and high-touch model, that nexus that will define the future of California's education goals. We are currently witnessing a really powerful alignment between student demand and state support. To date, our enrollment has surpassed 7,600 students, and that's a testament to the continued relevance of our mission. It's truly a credit to every member of our team that we are in the final stages of securing our institutional future and moving really decisively from that proof of concept model to a permanent pillar of California's educational infrastructure. Now, while we celebrate this momentum, we must also acknowledge the labor and education requirements this board must take action on today and the administrative realities necessitated by the state budget cycle. Per labor and education code requirements, this board has upheld its fiscal and governance responsibilities with the issuance of preliminary layoff notices earlier this year, and final action will be taken on those notices. It's important to underscore this action because the state budget will not be finalized until late June, so we, like many other public entities doing this at this time, must proceed with our labor and education obligations. I really appreciate truly the professionalism of our team who continue to drive our mission forward with a true focus on our learners while navigating this period of uncertainty. Calbright's value proposition is also gaining significant traction on the national stage. Last month at the ASU GSV Summit, I had the privilege of discussing how we are pioneering custom technology for adult learners thanks to our own technology, learning and support, research and development teams with constant learning from our students. Our advantage lies in the fact that we have not attempted to retrofit legacy systems, but instead we've built our programs and services from the ground up to meet contemporary needs. Later this week, I will also represent Calbright at the Open edX conference, participating on a leadership panel alongside representatives from Georgia Tech, WGU, and Rio Salado. My focus is going to be what it has been for some time now, on our asynchronous learning model, our rolling enrollment, the two features that our students cite as the reason for their success. We are demonstrating to the broader sector how building education bridges rather than off-ramps are helping ensure that our students remain engaged, even when faced with external life's challenges. So as we approach the final budget decisions in June by policymakers, it is my hope the board and broader Calbright community really take pride in our collective progress. The validation we're receiving from the legislature and the public is really a direct result of the day-to-day rigorous work performed by this institution and by our people. With that, I will turn things back over to President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, CEO Menon, for your report. There is no closed session today, so let's move swiftly to our consent agenda. Do any trustees wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote? Hearing none, may I have any public comment? Liaison Lucas.
There is no public comment.
Great, thank you. May I have a motion and a second, please?
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Haynes and Trustee Legrand. Liaison Lucas, may we have the roll, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Abstain.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Fauzi Hamadeh.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry Legrand. Jesse Melgar.
Aye.
Jennifer Perry.
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Aye.
Blas Villalobos. Joseph Williams.
Aye.
Approve, 0 oppose. Motion passes.
Thank you very much, Liaison Lucas. Let's move on to our action agenda. Item 4.1 is adoption of resolutions numbers 2026-6 and 2026-7, authorizing final layoffs for classified employees. I will pass that one off to Dan Ojeda.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dan Ojeda, sitting in for Wanda Daniel this morning, and we are recommending the adoption of these two resolutions which authorize the layoff of classified employees. And I'll just give you a brief background on how we got here. On February 18th of 2026, the board adopted resolution number 26-01 to reduce classified services and to lay off classified employees due to lack of funding. Then on March 4th, 2026, the district sent notices to 57 classified employees as required by the Education Code, notifying them that it had been recommended that their employment would be terminated at the end of this current 25-26 academic year. The employees who were sent the March notices were given the right to a hearing before an administrative law judge. Some, but not all, exercised that right, and a hearing was actually held April 28th, 2026. Following that hearing, the administrative law judge found in favor of the district and authorized all of the classified layoffs. And so here we are with two resolutions. There's Board Resolution 26-06, and this one adopts the ALJ decision in its entirety and authorizes the layoff of those employees who requested a hearing and participated in the layoff hearing process. And there's a second resolution, 26-07. This one applies to those classified employees who received the March layoff notices but did not request a hearing or otherwise waived their right to a hearing, so they did not participate in the hearing process. And in total, with these two resolutions, the total FTE classified positions that are impacted by the layoff is 57. So our recommendation is to adopt both resolutions.
Thank you very much, Dan. May I entertain any board comment? Okay, hearing none. Liaison Lucas, are there any public comments?
There is one public comment from Karen Snow. Hello, my name is Karen Snow. The RIF Ed staff are asking for a clear timeline, specifically after the state budget is finalized. In what time period, weeks, months, will recall determinations be made? After those determinations are made, how long weeks will it take for impacted employees to be notified? Uncertainty places real strain on employees and their families. A timeline would provide stability. There is also an anonymous attendee. Public comment. How disappointing that there was not a single board member comment or question on such an important issue. That is the end of the public comments.
Thank you very much, Terry. As this board and as the public knows, we can't respond directly to the comments, but I want to assure you that we've heard them. So thank you very much to those who made the comments. Liaison Lucas, we will proceed to take a motion. I need a motion and a second, please.
Haynes moves.
Costa seconds.
Thank you, trustees Haynes and Costa. Liaison Lucas, may we have the roll, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Fauzi Hamada.
Aye.
Hamaday, apologize. Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry Legrand.
Aye.
Jesse Melgar.
Aye.
Jennifer Perry.
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Aye.
Blas Villalobos. Joseph Williams.
Aye.
13 approved, 0 opposed. Motion passes. President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Liaison Lucas. Let's move to item 4.2, adoption of resolution number 2026-8 regarding reduction in force for academic employees. And Dan, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. This one relates to the layoff process that applied to academic employees. And specifically, we're recommending the approval of a resolution which adopts an administrative law judge decision which actually disapproved the layoff of the academic employees. And by way of a brief background for this one, the district, like with the classified employees, in March sent layoff notices to 3.0 FTE academic employees who were success counselors. All 3 employees requested a hearing and they participated in a hearing process. Following that hearing, there was briefing by both parties, and ultimately the administrative law judge decided that the district could not proceed with the layoffs because it had not established faculty service areas and related procedures that are required to conduct such a layoff. So in this board resolution 26-08, it adopts the ALJ decision in its entirety, and it would rescind the layoff notices that were sent to the 3.0 FTE academic employees, which would effectively withdraw the layoff against those 3. And it's our recommendation to adopt it.
Thank you, Dan. Any board comments? Trustee Costa.
I have a question. We have a future action item on general fund transfer expenditure for academic senates. I'm assuming that is conforming with this item.
The two are actually not related, but thank you for the question.
Right. Any other board comments? Hearing none, Liaison Lucas will take public comment.
There is no public comment.
Thank you.
I
Oh.
apologize. One just came in, anonymous. I would hope that there would be some ramifications for executives at Calbright who were responsible for seeing this layoff process through properly and who clearly missed steps in the case of faculty layoffs.
Thank you for the comment. At this time, I'll take a motion in a second.
I move for approval of the resolution. Second.
Thank you, trustees Legrand and Epstein. Liaison Lucas will take the roll, please.
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Fauzi Hamadeh,
Aye.
Pam Haynes,
Aye.
Harry Legrand,
Aye.
Jesse Melgar,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio,
Aye.
Blas Villalobos, and Joseph Williams.
Aye.
13 approved, 0 opposed. Motion passes. President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Liaison Lucas. We're moving to 4.3, which is approve an increase in authorized expenditure for legal support services by the law firm of Fagan, Friedman, and Fulfrost, LLP, for the remainder of fiscal year 2025-26 and fiscal year 2026-27. For that, I will give it over to our CFO, Ed Lee, who will make himself comfortable because you are on deck for the next 4 items. So over to you, CFO Lee.
Great, thank you, President Aguinaldo. Good morning. In place of our General Counsel, Wanda Daniel, I'm here to present an expenditure request for legal support services. Calbright is currently utilizing the law firm Fagan, Friedman, and Fulfrost, LLP, F3, for necessary employment and labor relations legal support in relation to the reduction in force process, as well as ongoing collective bargaining issues. As the extent of the support was not foreseeable or anticipated when the current fiscal year expenditures were developed during our regular budgeting cycles, the previously approved expenditures have been exhausted. However, as there is an ongoing need for legal support services related to time-sensitive employment and labor relations matters, staff is recommending approval of additional expenditures in the amount not to exceed $200,000 for the remainder of the current fiscal year and the next fiscal year of 26-27. Happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, CFO Lee. Any board comments? Trustee Costa.
I have a weird technical question. I said I have a weird budget question. You'll appreciate this, I'm sure. We haven't actually adopted the next fiscal year budget, so how are we approving an expenditure when we don't have a budget for the next fiscal year? Thank you.
Great, no, I appreciate that question, Trustee Costa. And I think it's a fair question. I would also say that, the board has historically approved multi-year contracts. And I think that's in keeping with that practice. And it's something that our teams are ensuring that the allocation aligns with the board-approved budgets of this amount for the 26-27 budget that we anticipate providing a tentative budget in the next board meeting, and then also the finalized budget in August.
Thank you, Trustee Costa. Anyone else? Okay, Liaison Lucas, let's take public comment, please.
Trustee Williams has his hand raised.
Trustee Williams, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question to Trustee Acosta, so are you saying we should really just be approving, I believe it's the 3621, 36,000 for the remainder of this year? So how would you handle that? Like, I'm just trying to follow up on your question about not having a budget in place. So are you recommending a different course of action? Because it looks like the item is saying that for the rest of this year is $36,021.12.
No, I'm really not suggesting. I just wanted to make sure I understood the process. And what I'm hearing from staff is that they will build that into the proposed budget that we're going to hear next month. So it's kind of just a point in time issue. But I feel confident based on the answer that it's based on actuals today and a projection of the services needed.
Thank you.
Great, Liaison Lucas, let's go to public comment, please.
We have one public comment, anonymous. Good to see where the priorities lie for Calbright legal defense over student success. There are no other public comments.
Thank you very much, Liaison Lucas. Okay, let's take a motion and a second, please.
Move for approval of the resolution.
Second.
Thank you, Trustees Legrand and Villavicencio. Liaison Lucas, may we have the roll, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Fauzi Hamadeh.
Aye.
Pam Haynes,
Aye.
Harry LeGrand,
Aye.
Jesse Melgar,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio,
Aye.
Blas Villalobos, Joseph Williams.
Aye.
13 approved, 0 opposed. Motion passes. President Aguinaldo.
Thank you, Liaison Lucas. Let's move to item 4.4, 2025-2026 unrestricted general fund budget transfer, sticking with CFO Lee.
Great. And so for this item, as part of our regular budget management activities as we near fiscal year end, I'm here to request board approval for the transfer of funds between major expenditure classifications in accordance with Board Policy 6250. As student demand for instructional support has exceeded projected adjunct faculty instructional hours, which are a variable driver here, compared to the budgeted assumptions. Staff is recommending a budget transfer from the other operating expenses and services major expense classification area where there is a projected underspend relative to budgeted assumptions on the order of $600,000. This transfer realigns the budget with actual and forecasted expenditures. Object 5,000, which is the other operating expenses and services, is projected to remain under budget for the fiscal year, and as a whole, there is no net impact to total appropriations. And I'll be sharing a little bit more in the next item around the fiscal year update. But a little kind of a preview of that is that you'll see that the college is still projected to be under budget relative to the final adopted budget that the board approved back in August. Happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you, CFO Lee. Any questions?
Joseph Williams has his hand raised.
Thank you for letting us know, Liaison Lucas. It's hard for me to see the screen, but go ahead, Trustee Williams.
Yeah, can you just kind of talk about there's an assumption, I've heard it from several folks. A lot of people think that the coursework in Calbright is all asynchronous and that there's not real instruction that takes place. Can you just kind of talk about how faculty do engage with students?
I will start, and then maybe I think.
And I'm just in relation to the hour overage. Yeah.
Maybe I'll start on that latter part, Trustee Williams, if that's okay, and then I'll pass it to President Menon for the student and faculty engagement part there. As part of the budgeting assumption process that the college does, part of that includes, projecting hourly assumptions based on our adjunct faculty, and so that's a variable kind of driver of the budget. It's not here's your salary for the entire year. It's really driven on the number of hours. The assumptions that we had at the time back in August were actually lower than what we're seeing. So it's just kind of realigning the reality with the assumptions at the time. And also with Calbright, there's variability of enrollment throughout the year and variability of student needs throughout the year that we can't fully project. So it feels reasonable to me, given that the whole budget is projecting to be under that of what was approved back in August, that we would realign that with the reality that we're seeing, and also that, also making it clear that we're, dedicating our resources to support our student learning in a really, tangible way here as well. But I'll pass it to President Menon to share a little bit more on how our faculty engage with the students.
Yeah, I would say that, and the reallocation reflects the current enrollment levels that we have increased to in the spring as well. So some consistency on that front in terms of planned measured growth that we were allowed to accommodate in the spring season as we were looking at the overall in the budget. The piece around faculty engagement is important because there is really important, meaningful engagement that faculty have with our learners, despite it not being a synchronous format. And so that looks very different in lots of ways, but there is a lot of faculty interaction with our learners themselves. So that includes things like beyond office hours, but really responding to student questions and communications, grading some of these factors. And as many of you know, in addition to disciplinary faculty, we also also have faculty assigned around assessment, assigned around course design, around the pieces that are essential for delivery for us, for the learning content. So that was lively. So our, it is an important measure. It is a measure also looked at in places like accreditation to ensure that faculty have a direct and meaningful role in the lives of our learners.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Williams. Any other board comments? All right. Hearing none. Liaison Lucas, let's take any public comment, please.
There is one public comment from Anonymous. It tickles me to see execs trying to answer the hows of this institution's functionality instead of asking the staff that's being laid off on the actual processes between staff, student, faculty interaction.
Thank you for the comment.
There are no other public comments.
Thank you, Liaison Lucas. Let's take a motion in a second, please.
Move approval.
Costa, second.
Thank you, Trustees Haynes and Costa. Liaison Lucas, let's take the roll, please.
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Fauzi Hamadeh.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry Legrand.
Aye.
Jesse Melgar.
Aye.
Jennifer Perry.
Aye.
Syrian Villavicencio.
Aye.
Blas Villalobos. Joseph Williams.
Aye.
13 approved, 0 opposed. Motion passes. President Aguinaldo.
Thank you, Liaison Lucas. We are now moving to the information and reports section of our agenda and sticking with CFO Lee. First for item 5.1, third quarter fiscal year 2026 budget update.
Great. I am here to present the third quarter financial update to keep the board fully advised regarding the financial status of the college. This period covers the months from July of 2025 to March 2026. There's a natural lag in the reporting process. Great. So today I'd like to cover 3 agenda items here. The first one being just a refresh on the budget that was approved by the board in August. Secondly, we'll dive into some of the specifics on the numbers and the drivers on the Q3 financial report, and then I'll end with a slide just on some next steps. Next slide there, please. Great. So this is the budget overview. Just a reminder, this budget was intentionally built to support continued program growth, strategic partnership development, and disciplined resource management. And Q3 is a meaningful checkpoint, I'll say. We are getting close to the end of the fiscal year, so we're really in the last quarter of the year. And at the same time, there are some year-end things that we will need to do that sometimes do impact the financials for the full end of the fiscal year. Great. Let's go to the next slide there. All right, let's dive into some specifics here. So before I go into some of the numbers, I thought it'd be helpful to just share out some of the highlights that we're about to see in some of the drivers. The first one I'll highlight here is that strategic enrollment management continues to support effective resource use, which you'll see in the numbers. Secondly, which we just discussed around academic salaries are forecasting above adopted budget based on the actual faculty hours that we're anticipating, which we referenced earlier. The non-academic salaries and benefits forecast is below budget, and that reflects position vacancies and some of the natural staff transitions that have happened during the year. And with these vacancies, there are additional reduction in some of the benefit projections you'll see as the benefits are tied to the employment. Operating expenses are tracking below budget based on some lower contractor and professional services spend. We do anticipate some additional Q4 activity for payment based on completion of services as we finish up the year. And as a whole, the year-end forecast remains within the adopted budget authority. Next slide there. So this slide shows the one-time restricted funds or effectively the startup funds that the college has remaining for the remainder of the year. I'll point to the lower left-hand number there and the fund balance, and the fund balance being the assets minus the liabilities for the college related to this fund. And you can see that at the 26.2 million at the beginning of July. And in the lower right-hand column, you can see, or right-hand cell there, if you will, is winding that down to zero. I will note that well, what are some of the revenues that you see there? It's really primarily interest income that we get from the funds that are based with the Solano County Office of Education per our requirement. And you can see that we are on pace to fully use up those funds. Great, let's go to the next slide. Next slide here, this represents the unrestricted funds, or the annual ongoing funds that the college receives. And I'll point to a couple things here. Similar story here, fund balance, lower left-hand column. Again, the college started with about $4 million in fund balance. We're projecting probably closer to 5.9 in remaining unrestricted fund balance by the end of June. Again, we anticipate the forecast to change based on the actuals, and then the total expenditures for the recurring funds here, you can see on the order of the 13.5 million on the expenditure forecast column, and then the revenues being that a little bit over 15 million. Again, that includes primarily interest income on top of the annual $15 million that the college receives. And let's go to the next slide there, and let's put these two together. And we can see that, maybe just to remind the board adopted a budget plan of 43.2 million. You can see that in the adopted budget column with the total expenditures. The forecast, if you go all the way to the right, the forecast right now we're projecting to be about 40.2 million at this time. And on the fund balance side, again, adding up the fund balance from the two fund sources there, it's about 30.2 million. And we're forecasting approximately 5.9 million on the fund balance. Again, that's all anticipated given the startup structure and as the college transitions from its startup phase to a more sustainable operations. The reserve percentage you can see there is about almost at 15%, 14.89%, which is higher than the adopted budget back in August, around 6%. I will note it is still lower than the Chancellor's Office recommendation of 16.7%. And that's kind of the combined fund view. And why don't we go to the next slide? Just some next steps. Just a few here I wanted to share is we're going to continue to monitor the financial performance throughout the remainder of the fiscal year. We've already been in the audit process already. It's a long process, so appreciate all the work from my team as well as others that are supporting my team, including year-end closing activities, interim audit polls, and all that kind of fun stuff. And we're also working on preparing the 26-27 tentative budget presentation for the board next month. I think that's all I had from my end. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Trustee Costa, no surprise there.
I love budget, what can I say? It's a little bit of a bridge to kind of the previous items that we acted on, and then of course you're bringing forward the tentative budget. And I would just like to say I personally want to make sure that when we, hopefully we are successful in the budget to avoid these terrible decisions that we're making. And I am hoping though that in our tentative budget we have a robust conversation around our reserves. And I want to be clear that reserves, don't allow us, ongoing relief, but it does provide us with time. And, I think that the state's fiscal health is really, concerning, candidly, in the out years. And so I know the Chancellor's Office has guidelines around reserves, but I think that given our unique sort of structure here, I really hope that you can bring your best thinking about what is appropriate for us as a college going forward, knowing that, we just have a lot of geopolitical headwinds that are going to impact the state's finances and in turn us. Thank you.
I just actually wanted to say thank you for the comment and the recommendation for the future discussion. I do think it is going to be critically important for us going forward to revisit that. So Ed did mention that the Chancellor's Office guidelines are around 16.7%. Our board policies are around 5%. So we'll want to revisit this in the context of a board policy discussion related to appropriateness of reserve levels, but concur with the fundamental approach and understanding that we need to be looking at the long-term fiscal health of the college going forward in good years and in bad years. And, we'll seek to have a discussion with the board to build towards that.
Trustee Haynes.
So thank you. I want to just align my support around what Trustee Acosta said. Having been on a community college board of trustees, it is completely unacceptable. 5% is while it's across the system where it's in our statements of 5%, but there's no way that we can survive under any circumstances with 5%. And that was shown to us and at Los Rios with the recession of 2008, 2009. And the only way we were able to weather that, and thank goodness it ended when it did, was because we had a healthy reserve and we were able to keep at least all our tenured folks, whether they were faculty or admins. What we weren't able to do was we had to release many of our part-timers. And it's challenging. So to the extent that we can bolster that, the better we will be. And I would also agree that we need to do it within the framework of what Calbright is, not what the traditional community college is. We design it around that and around the growth that we're intending to have over the next several years.
Thank you. Just one last thing. You may be aware that there is a state audit regarding the assessment of reserve levels across the entire system, and Calbright is included in there. I think while the audit scope was focused on excess reserves, I take your comment very seriously to understand the relationship between appropriate reserve levels and what is necessary for institutions to be able to weather changes in economic circumstances that are likely ahead for the state.
Trustee Epstein.
Yeah, hi. I just want to, reinforce, I think, what the other two trustees have said, that, I guess I think it's unfortunate that we had to go through that reduction in force process. And, while we have a great potential budget this year, as everybody's noted, that's not guaranteed in the future. And so we really need to be looking at a long-term solution that's sustainable and that will eliminate the volatility that's resulted in the action we took earlier today, which I think is unfortunate, and hopefully can be largely reversed when the final budget is done. And that, I just believe that should be, perhaps the highest priority of this board, is to figure that out.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Epstein. Any other board comments? Okay. Liaison Lucas, any public comment, please?
Yes, we have two anonymous public comments. The first one, so just to make sure we're all clear here, we've heard that our budget is better than it was with $3 million lower expenditures forecast, reserves almost 50% higher than expected, and we've now approved spending more money on legal defenses, more money on faculty salaries because of increased enrollment, and we've rescinded faculty layoffs because Calbright administration messed up. On the other hand, with that same increased enrollment we celebrate, there has been no movement towards rescinding any classified staff layoffs to serve those students, and no transparent conversation about that. The second anonymous comment is, good morning, members of the board. I'm a student. We have heard leadership say that this institution is focused on learners and that students are the priority, but students deserve transparency about how that commitment will be maintained while nearly 70% of employees are being cut. I heard this institution serves almost 8,000 students, and supporting learners requires instructors, student support staff, counselors, LMS technology teams, IT support, and the operational staff who keep the institution functioning. How will the college continue to provide quality education, timely support, and reliable learning systems with only 30% of its workforce remaining? At this point, the uncertainty is so significant that I'm honestly questioning whether I should continue my own education here or recommend this college to others. If students truly are the priority, we ask for a clear and honest explanation of the plan to protect student success during these changes. End of public comment.
Terry, those are the totality of the comments? Great, thank you very much. All right, there is no vote for that, so let's move on to 5.2 again with CFO Lee for reports on contracts and purchases.
Okay, the last item here, I think. I'm here to provide a standard report for the monthly contract and purchase activity for the month of April. Attachments to the agenda include the contracts report for April, which includes a partnership MOU in this case, so one agreement. And there's also a purchase list total from the prior month of $366,000. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you, CFO Lee. Any questions from the board? All right, hearing none, Liaison Lucas, may we have public comment, please?
There is no public comment.
Great, thank you very much, CFO Lee, for hanging with us for those 4 items. Let's move on to the next section, constituency group reports. Item 6.1 is the Calbright Academic Senate report, and we'll pass that one off to Michael Stewart.
Good morning, President Aguinaldo and Vice President Perry and members of Calbright's Board of Trustees. The Academic Senate would like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work, professionalism, and dedication of our counseling faculty. Despite the uncertainty and difficulties many have experienced, their commitment to our students have remained unwavering. They have also served an important role in the curriculum committee by providing thoughtful feedback on curriculum proposals, advocating for accessibility for student support, and engaging in constructive dialogue focused on student success, often well before curriculum reached the final approval stages. Their continued commitment to students, their colleagues, and the broader Calbright College community is deeply appreciated and truly inspiring. I am sincerely grateful for the opportunity to work alongside such thoughtful professionals and compassionate individuals who contribute and continue to strengthen our institution and support for our students that we serve. And as always, Calbright faculty is working very hard to support our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your report. The next report comes from the Calbright Faculty Association, and for that we welcome Cindy Carney.
Thank you. Good morning, President Menon, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Perry, and Board of Trustee members. CFA and Calbright recently began successor agreement negotiations, and I'm here today to help provide an update. CFA presented proposals on Articles 1, 4, and 10, and requested updates to contract language in several areas related to faculty working conditions, recognition, and benefits. Under Article 4, Working Conditions, the union proposed updated language regarding part-time faculty participation on committees, counselor workload calculations and scheduling, overload opportunities and course development responsibilities, academic senate approval of duty statements, the proposed digital disconnect policy, a proposed 195-day work year, the use of AI under human-centric education principles, and intellectual property language within displacement protections. Under Article 1, Association Recognition, CFA proposed updated language to include part-time faculty and remove the exclusions currently contained in Section 1.2. And under Article 10, Benefits, discussions included medical insurance, dental, and vision benefits, as well as part-time faculty benefits, and procedures related to health benefit changes. Our next steps, we will be scheduling additional bargaining sessions in the upcoming weeks and expect to receive the district's response to our proposals at that time. As well, at that time, we will present updates to language for evaluations and salary. We look forward to continued collaboration with the district in these contract negotiations. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your report, Cindy. Item 6.3 is the report from the California School Employees Association. And we welcome Donna Howard to make that report.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the Calbright College Board of Trustees. At the time of writing this report, the May revision has not yet been released. Regardless of the outcome of funding, the union urges the college to engage us as a proactive partner in shaping Calbright's future. In the early spring of 2025, CSEA acknowledged that layoffs were likely necessary given Calbright's fiscal trajectory. At that time, we reached out to the leadership with the goal of being solution-focused to collaboratively identify strategies that would both meet the needs of the financial realities of the institution and the needs of our employees and students. Unfortunately, the college was not willing to engage transparently in that conversation, despite fiscal indicators that were clear to anyone managing even a basic operational budget. Today, we are again extending our hand in partnership. We believe Calbright can move beyond a traditional labor management dynamic and towards a relationship rooted in shared responsibility, transparency, and mutual benefit. One that advances both classified professionals and the students we serve. Calbright has recruited some of the most talented classified employees in the state of California. We are specialists, analysts, engineers, coordinators, and frontline staff who understand not just student need, but also this institution. We possess the operational knowledge, creativity, and problem-solving capacity necessary to generate thoughtful, innovative, and fiscally responsible solutions. I respectfully urge this board to utilize this workforce to its full potential. Invite us into meaningful dialogue. Engage us early. Allow us to contribute constructively in strategic planning, budget stabilization, and institutional redesign. Our goal is not opposition. Our goal is sustainability for our employees, for our students, and for all of Calbright College. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Donna, for your report. Item 6.4 is a report from the Associated Students of Calbright College, but we do not have a report today. So let's move on to item 7.1, public forum. Are there any members of the public who wish to be heard?
There is one public comment by Maria Reynoso. Maria, you have 3 minutes. Maria, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria, and I'm a student support specialist at Calbright College. So thank you. And I was going to say good afternoon, but it's still morning time. So good morning. Considering these new developments with funding leading positively in Calbright's favor, what is the college's plan to reinstate our classified staff? Because right now, our administrators do not motivate, mentor, or problem solve for our students. They don't change programs, they don't re-enroll, career counsel, and they certainly don't sit on the phone for hours with our students. So as the board, I ask you, are we still an institution that places our students first? And by that measure, Shouldn't you be asking the college, are they still going to be able to provide an institution that places students first? When after layoffs, we will only have 7 student-facing staff to support 8,000 students come July 1st. I asked the board, what do you think student success and student support should look like for Calbright? It was mentioned we are a high-tech, high-touch model. Who do you think offers that high touch? Classified. Thank you.
President Aguinaldo, we have another public comment by Jonathan Nezer. Jonathan, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
We can.
Great. My name is Jonathan Nezer. I am a student sports specialist here at Calbright College. In this hour of solvency, we taste only abandonment. The May revise has released, and still the classified layoffs proceed. I ask why. We are Calbright. We were chartered as California's answer to the working adult left behind, the parent retraining at midnight, the warehouse worker reaching for something more, the student whom every other system has already counted as a loss. The roots of this college were planted in that promise. Equity was not a slogan affixed to a strategic plan. It was the soil. And the student sports specialists in enrollment services, the hourly staff you are excising, has been the ones tending it, call by call, case by case, student by student. I stand before you having been told that the budget requires these cuts. The budget no longer requires them. The union has offered contingency plans. The union has and continues to request clarity on the rehiring process. The college has answered with silence, the particular silence of a fate decided, and now waits only for the decision to be ratified by sheer exhaustion. Think of these layoffs as you will. Frame them as restructuring, as right-sizing, as fiscal prudence preserved against some imagined future shortfall. But do not doubt the reality of what is being chosen here, with full funding in sight. That the people closest to these students, the people who are the equity mission in practice, not in language, are the most disposable line on the ledger. An institution that treats its most precarious workers as the first variable to zero out, while contractors and AI replacements remain in their stead, has forfeited the language it uses to describe itself as equity-driven and human-oriented. This may be the last time I speak to you. I will not pretend it is anything else. So let me be clear. The reclamation of what this college was meant to be has not begun. It has been deferred, quietly, deliberately, by the very people entrusted to defend it. And I leave you with the bitterest farewell I know how to offer. I hope you remember us. I suspect you will not have to. Thank you.
Thank you. There is no other public comment.
Thank you very much, Liaison Lucas, and thank you to the folks who made the public comment. I will say again, just because there is every urge in me to respond to the comments that you make, but we cannot do that as a board. So I assure you again, we listened to you, we heard you, and we are taking those into account. Thank you very much for your participation and your feedback. We've reached the end of our agenda for this meeting. It is 10:28, and the business of the Board of Trustees is now complete, and we can adjourn. Thank you for your participation.